Just making sure we're good on YouTube here. All right. All right. Well, welcome to everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is June 9th, 2021. My name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got today. And overall, our posture remains the same inside of the SPY. We did have an interesting test of some lower levels throughout the intraday session yesterday. But the fact that we are still attempting to breach the pre-market highs and the fact that we are starting to slowly close above the daily all-time high, which is not going to show some of that pre-market action, kind of gives us a sense that we're in sort of a resistance zone that the market is attempting to move itself out of. We certainly, wish to see a little bit more conviction inside of the first attempt at a breakout. And given that we haven't really had that yet, we've had maybe some smaller tests of the upper levels and the overall all-time highs, but no real clear sense of conviction to move outside of the range. Now, as we talked about in yesterday's success webinar and some of the concepts that we often bring to engineering the markets, our volume profile is still showing the fact that value is sitting slightly below. And while this market is sort of giving us signs of strength to the upside with the fact that we are pressing against the all-time highs, what we essentially want to look for is whether or not the market has to ever return to value before making that final breakout structure. Now, we saw something similar to this on, this would be Thursday's session, where the market did gap down and pulled into a previous support zone and what is a more large term value zone, roughly the 417 to 418 range. As we have moved higher and as energy has been built in this area, you can see how tight some of the recent price action is, especially in this viewpoint. And those sort of range compression zones are important to get us out of larger trading ranges. So if this market is to break out, I think that structurally, according to things like Wyckoff range-based trading or trading range concepts, there are some very good overall postures in this trading range to get us through the all-time high. Obviously, anything can fail. We simply want to look at probabilistic structures and whether or not things are setting up in a way that we anticipate to have a similar reaction. And so far, I would say so good. When we look over at our Nasdaq, we saw that yesterday didn't have a ton of follow through, but we are still moving through a previous sort of swing high that was set last week. We had that similar back test that occurred on Thursday, leading us to the 20-period moving average, roughly mid-range inside of the overall trading range that we're in. And then the fact that we were able to sort of trend higher, maybe with some anticipatory action from the jobs report, so far, the structure still remains sort of a drift to the upside. Now, what I'm starting to review into this week is the fact that we are starting to climb into this upper range. And when it comes to where can we expect some sort of testing to occur, we certainly want to look at breakdown zones, essentially where the market had some sort of thrust to the upside, immediately rejected price, and then the follow through was significant. So ultimately, starting to clear out some of the congestion. I'll probably just leave the trend line, but we sort of know that these lower areas act as support. We have our upper range that we're starting to get into, and then we have some previous thrust to the upside that did fail. So as we move forward, we simply expect these areas to give us general targets. If we wish to reduce our risk, we would expect some challenge of price at these zones. And then as we potentially get into the all-time high, I would say similar to the SPY, this may take additional range compression and energy to bust through the all-time high. And that is, of course, if we do get there. We are not currently in a position to even consider it, given we do have a couple of check marks to hit throughout the trading range. And finally, with our IWM, we know that there has been some renewed interest in small caps and particular growth sectors. I'll show a couple of general charts to just kind of show how that change can occur sort of on a dime, and how the lack of, I would say, effort that's required to move price can be seen with some of these stocks moving higher off of their lows. IWM is a good example of how over the past couple of weeks we've had very calm trending action with not much in the way of resistance reacting to the price. We really haven't seen seller conviction yet or supply conviction yet to force the price back down to value. And what this may be indicating is that as we are starting to breach previous resistance zones, as we're starting to get higher into our trading range, we obviously see the daily moving averages starting to cross. Any potential drawdown back to value may be something worth considering for, once again, a buy setup. Now, as with every trading style, there are conservative and aggressive entries. At this time, with regards to the daily structure, the aggressive entry is long gone. That would have been closer to our trend line, with the understanding that if we ever lose the entire trading range, roughly the significant low that we had set back in March, then obviously there is some cause for concern, because the market may be wishing to move away from value and basically do more of a markdown phase inside of the IWM. But that did not occur. We got a bounce, and that bounce so far has moved through value without too much in the way of consolidation. We had maybe a couple days sitting at about 220, and then obviously we're moving much higher at this point. So it may feel as if we have sort of missed the boat in some regards, but think about how much time has been spent in the IWM. We've been in this trading range for a period of many months. And as we get certain consolidation timeframes, we're simply looking for good risk to reward scenarios if we are to breach this trading range to the upside. Now, similar to the Qs, there is sort of that final spot that we have to check. That's going to be our previous all-time high. We also just want to have small sort of watches or alerts set at previous lower highs in shorter time frames, especially ones that reacted quite strongly to the downside. You would expect there to be some pause or additional price consolidation at these levels before we can move forward. But at these zones, if we do get significant pullbacks and we get decent buy setups, those are ones that we want to consider because we are getting signs of strength in this market. The lack of selling conviction and the lack of reactions that we're getting at previous resistance zones shows us that maybe the demand is starting to overcome what previously was heavy supply. And if that's true, then we certainly do not want to fight the price. And I would even say that unless the upper end of the trading range gives us a significant reaction, I would even indicate not to necessarily fade the trading range, which is something that is more common when you are in a range-bound market. Overall, this progression from low to high is impressive, and we want to see, once again, can we get sort of a risk-defined trade placed or an area of contention to define that risk before looking for the overall breakout or possible failed breakout back to value. Either way, we can play either direction. It's just about which one sets up and which one does the market offer for us. Now, we have discussed some of the risks of IWM, of course. There are holdings in IWM that are certainly volatile at this time. And that can be seen on something as simple as a heat map. We certainly are seeing strength across the board, so it's not to say that these stocks are simply carrying the entire index, but some of that volatility and potentially the pullback that we may eventually get before breaching all-time highs may be dictated by some of these more volatile names. AMC here, and then there's a few more in here that are actually kind of seeing some correlation to some of the short squeeze, I would say, theme that we have going on right now. So, while these markets are structurally setting up, we also want to take a quick look at the Dow, which has in recent history been one of the stronger trenders to the upside and has seen a lot of sort of economic tailwind to provide some strength in some of the industrial, financial, and other, I would say, correlated sectors to sort of a recovery in the economy. So far on the daily, the Dow actually does not look too bad in regards to continuation. There is a flattening of the 20-period moving average. We certainly just want to note that. We had that similar test that occurred on Thursday back to the 20-period. And what's interesting is that the follow-through hasn't really been stellar. We're sort of stuck in this sort of normalized zone. And as I bring it to maybe a 1 hour, we can see that there's a bit of value sitting slightly below us at this point as we sit in a slightly higher upper range of the overall trading range. Now, obviously, this market could benefit from some of the other markets starting to breach all-time highs. We could see sort of just a correlated market push to the upside. But it is interesting to note that the Dow is not performing in the same way as was prior. There may be a bit of pause in some of these sectors as we are seeing things like the interest rate at this time start to drop. Once again, presumably from some of the numbers in the jobs report that occurred last Thursday. And if that is the posture of this market, if there's sort of a awaiting additional information, then we may not get a lot of directional clarity until that information is released. And sort of the repositioning of risk on to risk off, which sectors will outperform, that sort of narrative can start to become more apparent in the marketplace. So you definitely don't want to keep your eyes off the Dow. It's been certainly one of the best performers as of late, but We have set sort of a preliminary supply reaction. This was a sort of short-term buying climax in the Dow. We had to pull back to the 50 to sort of catch ourselves. And now we are sort of holding mid-range, certainly still trending on the daily, but the posture is less clear as opposed to some previous pullbacks, which have had not only follow through, but also really great extension to the upside. You know, the follow through has been sort of significant. So with that in mind, there have been certain stocks, specifically in the EV sector, that we have seen a resurgence into. And this was something that we've been discussing probably about a month ago, the idea of maybe a return to some of these beaten down growth, I would say more speculative companies, ones that maybe don't necessarily have the best track record and are more forward looking in their product or their expectations. And obviously not knowing which exact industry is going to be the one that's really standing out. It's mostly about shifting your focus back to these areas and using some of the technical analysis and the structure that we have to define your risk. Now, what's impressive about this is we've seen a lot of these stocks come off of their sort of parabolic buying climaxes back in November and December, and they've sold off quite heavily. So while this may look like catching a knife, trying to find sort of a bottom in something that is still in a downtrend, I would like to draw your attention to something like XPEV, where structurally on the chart, we did set previous swing lows, significant areas where the market did react. And that tells you that at that time, there was at least enough buying demand to move and the price back through and sort of test the trading range to the upside. Now, this one's probably one of the more clear ones because we have another swing low off of the first sell-off. And then we have sort of our March low. And then this one, of course, had earnings around the same time. Now, as the price moves and tests the upper portion of the trading range, we simply want to say, okay, that's sort of a support turn resistance, very common sort of basic technical analysis expectation. We see it return to test the lower end of the range. Now, if you're looking just at the downtrend, obviously you will say, well, it's in a downtrend, I expect price to go lower. And that can be facilitative during certain portions of time. I would say areas like this, where we have very significant moving averages starting to cross and sort of a loss of trending structure. If I just draw a basic trend line, something like that, you get your head and shoulders, you get your overall sort of loss of your upper zone, and then you get that nice follow through to the downside. Now, when you are oversold and conditions are such that you may be returning to sort of a breakout area, and XPEV certainly had a sort of interesting area as it did open and set a first day high in this zone. As you get into these areas, you simply want to look and see, is the demand still there? And what we can do is just sort of watch as price gets to these zones. Usually there is some sort of anticipatory, I would say, pause in price, as either it's going to essentially waterfall through, look for lower demand, or it will find that demand at this previous trading range low. That test will be confirmed. And in Wyckoff theory, you often get selling exhaustion leading to what's called a spring. Those springs are excellent risk-defined areas because not only do you know that the selling exhaustion is likely to be complete. All of the people who sold are likely done. They also may have trapped short sellers who think that this is going to continue in a downtrend. And what that allows the price to do is, as there is more demand here than the selling supply, that demand and the lack of overhead resistance, as we've gotten a lot of those sellers out of the way, leads us to some strong movement back through the trading range, and ultimately looking for maybe higher targets if we expect this to break out. Now, that may obviously set up as we are just starting to breach this trading range, and obviously there's going to be, tests to the upside. We just want to sort of note areas of interest, but these movements are key to understand whether accumulation may have occurred and how the market likes to essentially draw in market participants with very straightforward sort of, I would say, false breakdowns or false breakouts, expecting the price to move in the direction that it's been moving and then immediately reversing direction. That's really what can sort of trap a lot of newer traders and even investors who maybe are saying, well, this thing is going to continue selling, I may as well just sell out, take the loss. That leads to the frustration that we get towards the bottoming of certain markets. And what I find so interesting about this is a lot of these stocks have done very similar price movements. Structurally, they're not as clear across the board, but a lot of stocks in very similar industries and areas of specifically the EV sector at this time have moved in this way. And those sort of lower tests leading to very strong reactions back to the upside, and the lack of overall resistance that we're seeing on the move. So the effort is minimal, specifically as we move through the trading range. There's not a lot of necessary volume, but the price movement is drastic. That's important to note because it shows that there really isn't a battle going on anymore. Most of the sellers are gone. Now there are buyers, and those buyers are helping facilitate the move back through the trading range, obviously back through value zones. If we look at, once again, volume profile, that helps us kind of understand. Let's do like a 1 hour. That helps us to understand that maybe we got to the point of either capitulation or simply just finding the demand zone that overrides the previous selling pressure that we saw in the past. So something to obviously take into your back pocket and note. We're seeing these extensions occur, and what's important to understand is that depending on your style of trade, you may want to posture yourself in the future either in a more aggressive setting, looking for those springs, sort of those last points of supply and demand to basically facilitate a move against the trend. And when it comes to the conservative entries, you're looking at sort of the upper trading ranges that the market is setting for us and allowing the price to compress in these areas to give you some good risk definition. Obviously moving averages are starting to cross. Those are the more, I would say, obvious signals, but at this point in time, and by the time that occurs, often the price has moved significantly in the direction that you're looking to capture. So just keep these things in mind and take these as some examples because they are often cyclical in nature, with huge demand leading into large sell-off supply. Obviously, these are more parabolic in nature as opposed to distributive, but the volatility was important, and the fact that we are returning to some of these names is of interest to us as traders. And I can pull up significant areas of interest, I would say that biotech had a nice spike higher off of some previous lows. We've seen swing highs in the past that have acted as previous supply zones, and then the breakouts and the markup phase that we get from them. As we come back into them, we simply want to look and see what's occurring. Do we expect reactions? And then obviously the shorter term support zones, these are being set by previous price. But what's important is that even though they are lost, markets like to essentially test lower demand zones before moving higher. They want to get the best price before they take the shares and try to sell them at higher prices. We essentially do not want to chase them. We want to find when that shift is occurring, positions ourselves accordingly, and then look for follow through once things start to breach. Now, I think the last topic of conversation is along that notion, and I will bring us to Bitcoin. Now, what's occurring inside of the previous couple of days is of interest to me in Bitcoin, because we have seen a pretty significant price movement away from a notable pattern or structure in the BTC USD chart. Using TradingView, I've simply used the, I believe it's called, where is it? Having trouble finding it at the moment. Well, I'll look it up and post it in just a moment. But basically, this tool allows you to draw the pennant that is currently on the screen. And what is interesting is that we've had some tests above the pennant. You know, this is just a range compression zone. So these areas are not necessarily true supply and demand areas, but traders are often respecting these areas and looking for breakouts with enough volume to facilitate continuation. We did not have that to the upside. We fell back into this pennant. We sort of tested it to the downside, found significant resistance, and then breached down. Now, what I want to talk about here is that so far, we've come back to test roughly the 31,000 area, and we are seeing a fairly significant bounce at this time. Intraday, I'm certainly going to be looking at some Bitcoin stocks, because even this little bit of a bounce follow through is enough to get stocks like Riot and Mara back on track. And what's even more interesting is that prior to the actual bounce, Riot and Mara were actually starting to recover from a test of a sell-off. Riot and Mara have two trading ranges near the lows. They're very tight trading ranges. They should be fairly obvious to everyone looking at a chart. And when they pulled down, what I found interesting is that they recovered that sell-off quickly, sort of in a V-bottom approach. That leads me to believe it was much more of a test. And I'm interested in momentum continuing, specifically if Bitcoin is going to bounce in this way and sort of hold itself around value for the rest of the day. You know, just like always, bringing up a simple volume profile. Having some trouble today finding my indicators. But a simple volume profile shows us that value is roughly, I would say slightly above 36,000. We can actually see price rejecting value on that false breakout, and that led to the breach of the pennant. So some interesting price action. I think it's something we can sort of take advantage of intraday. And certainly when it comes to longer term, it is worth mentioning that that return to value may facilitate, once again, the idea of a spring. Now, there's still a lot of work to be done here, but ultimately, if that's going to be moving back to value, it shows a lack of conviction to the downside at this time. I just simply want to note it and kind of see what happens between roughly that $5,000 range, 36 to 31, moving forward. So with that said, I'm Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. Trade safe. Look for some advantage to take into today. And then obviously we still have a lot of volatile names out there. We'll cover that more in pre-market prep. So thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Good morning, Norm. How are you?
Good morning, brother. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing good, man. Doing really good. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's look at our watch list from yesterday. And again, even this morning, this watch list might even stay here. Everything is very, very active, as you can see here. Let's take a look over at CLOV. Obviously, this thing was on fire along with the other meme stocks that are in play in the last couple of days. This one here taking off after the market bell, had a good pre-market action. Look at the consolidation it had around this level here. What was that? That's around that's the low of the day as well, 1630. So that's your low of your day today as well. You got that red line going across there, and just look at the beautiful continuation, the nice breakouts they had above some of these levels, the test of the high of the day, and then another continuation again over to 25. So again, just trading very, very clean. CLOV here, and the entire day was just very nice to look at. Here was Wendy's. Wendy's was nice as well. Beautiful pre-market action, guys. Traded very clean in the pre-market into the market open and continued this downtrend right into the market open. Set the low of the day there. Found a beautiful bounce and then bounced.
Look at that volume bar compared to the rest of the chart.
It's funny. I did not know what you were laughing at, but I knew it was going to be funny, so I just started laughing. Yes, agree 100%. Stocks, it doesn't do anything, nothing.
That's like my son standing next to Shaq or something. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Or like Thor. Thor is actually pretty tall. He's like 6 something, man. From what I hear. So insane. But yeah, here it is, guys. Beautiful trade yesterday. Actually, talking about Thor, I think he's short.
You're only looking at the daily too, brother.
Oh, sorry. I'm over. I have the 5-minute on my top chart. Let me bring that over to you guys down here. Here we go. Let's get to yesterday's action right in here. Excellent. But yeah, so that was Wendy, guys. Pretty active. And even today, they already have 2 million shares traded. So I think we're going to get some kind of continuation there too. Workhorse was also very clean. Had a okay pre-market action, but you know what? It took off here, guys. It took off pretty nice. It hit the high of the day. Did a beautiful continuation right after that. Hit all these levels we had. We had 1636. We have 1528. Does come back down and slams against that and one more time here. So Workhorse very active as well. Again, we had a lot going on. And this is only my list. There's other people that had their list that also has some really good stocks that were moving there. Here's few. So I didn't watch the price action too much on this one, but it looks like in a beautiful engulfing pattern right on here and a nice continuation, breaking this great level you had set kind of in the pre-market right on here. So that looks really nice. And just look at that continuation as well. We have BB also on deck. BB was okay, guys. Again, just pushing a lot of volume around. Was not clean as it was the last couple of days. Yesterday, a little bit choppier than usual. Great for scalps because this thing takes off. If you can get a good entry, for example, here was bouncing back on the of some of the lows, creating higher lows in here, and you can see that the breakout here was nice all the way towards the high half the day and then some. We had the 17 level here, which is struggled to get above or stay above, and then you can see a slam back down to the previous level as well. So a lot going on there in BB. AMC also was very active. Again, not as clean as it was the last couple of days. Look at just every candle overlapping the previous candles. This is tough to trade here. To try to time a breakout, you got to be in and out very, very fast. When something is moving like this. So that was yesterday's action. If you look at some of these numbers here, guys, 22 million, 2 million, 1.7, 400,000 for fuel cell, 2.1 for BB, and 4.7 for AMC. These things are probably much likely in play today as well. So let's take a look quickly at the SPY. What do we have coming up today that might have not been covered yet by Jared?
Not much, man. I mean, we're obviously just banging our head up against this 423 breakout number. So we popped above it a little bit yesterday, but failed to close above it, and just kind of, a little choppy in there. Today we've got wholesale inventories at 10. Yeah, so.
All right. Excellent. Let's take a look, guys, at our watch list this morning. What's on our gappers list today? We'll remove this here from yesterday and we'll start this up here. Let's get some rows in place here. And let's see what's gapping up. We have Wish. Wish is on deck right now, up 32% at the moment. Let's get our 5 minutes to show today's action. So this thing started taking off, looks like yesterday, right after the bell. Did continue into the after hours. This over here is going to be our after hours. It traded very well. Actually, did the same move that it did during the market hours. And today they're gapping up 32%. So again, pretty good stuff right now. 24 million shares traded. Big day yesterday. Norm, what's the latest and greatest on this thing? This thing is moving pretty.
It's meme.
Pretty nice. This was meme as well, Wish? I didn't know that one.
It's new.
Gotcha. All right. So welcome to the club here, Wish. You're looking very good. 30 million, 24 million. 30%, 24 million shares traded. Definitely in play, guys. CLNV here. They are up 27%. Big pop actually this morning. Did run up yesterday after the bell as well. You can see here, probably got some news going on as well. This one is up 27%, 8 million shares traded. I like this one too. Let's put it on here. CLNV. It's going to be one of those days, guys, where again the same thing's happening. There's a lot here that's going to be looking good. CLOV, of course, possible continuation. And aside from this one traded very clean yesterday. So looking forward to see what this has for us today. OEG just starting to get going now, guys, at 8 a.m. So right now here you're getting some volume. Just got this one pop. We'll come back to this one. Let's see what happens here.
They got a new contract.
New contract
that was announced this morning. That's their news.
All right, so I'm going to put them as a possible because I do like that. I want to have something a little bit different than just all the meme stocks that we have on deck at the moment. Let's have OEG right here for now as a possible. WPG is starting to take off here. They're daily. I was going to say their day looks pretty interesting. Okay. No, the REITs guys don't trade very well.
It's trading. They usually don't, but that looks all right. You might put that on a secondary. We'll see.
Right. WPG. And did this make noise yesterday? No, it didn't, but it looks like...
it's got a high short float.
Yeah.
So could be...
Yeah,
people could be targeting it or something.
All right, we'll take a look at that WPG. Here is AHT. We saw this one yesterday, and today they're also gapping up 50%, 3.8 million shares traded. In OK daily, float on this one is 140. Again, it's just, let's put it here as possible for now. Root, ROOT, this one is gapping up 15%, 1 million. And at the moment, I mean, I'm really saying the bar, guys, is really high when we have such a big list like this. And we have everything moving. So there's going to be some stuff that I'm going to put on my possibles list, or I'm not even going to put on here. You're going to be like, what are you doing? And it's because it's just everything looks incredible right now. So you got to be very, very picky. Root right now, again, looking at these numbers, they look great. Pre-market action is not the best. The daily in the past has not been great. Had a great day yesterday. I'm only going to put as a possible. Any other given day, this could have been easily one of our top on the list there. Be Big is not looking great, guys. A little choppier on the pre-market action. We had this yesterday, and I didn't keep it on deck neither. Let's take a look at their intraday action. They had a good pre-market action. Yesterday, it was very choppy at the open, though. This is not great, so I'm going to keep them off for now. They got great volume, nice pop, but Just the way they traded yesterday, I'm going to go on that. That's not the best intraday trading stock. Go EV. Let's take a look here. Big day yesterday. Today, possible continuation, guys. Up 12.5, 463,000. I'll put it as a possible. We'll come back to that one. Lots this morning to watch for sure. But lots with a Z is up 12.3. Pre-market action is okay. Had a couple of really good days here. This would have been Monday, Tuesday, and then today. Gapping up another 12.6. Daily looks okay. The only thing I like about this daily is that we're slamming up against this area of resistance here. So that could be interesting for a possible breakout. But that might not stay there. All right, I'm going to stop here, guys, because we can go on all day here. We have tons of stuff. I'm just going to scroll down, see any good ones that we've been watching. Workhorse is decent. I think Workhorse is worth watching, guys. I'm telling you, I think we could have kept the watches from yesterday and just called it a day. Workhorse 1.8 up 10 million. Up 10% right now. That is looking good. Pre-market action is okay. A daily interesting for a possible breakout above this 18 area. Heading down here, FSR is one that we looked at in the past. They had a nice run up since slamming down over at 10, over at 19 now. Pre-market action is not great. Quickly looking at their intraday action, has not been clean. Although they're ending the day green, their intraday action doesn't look all that exciting. So we'll skip on that one for now. Maybe earnings or something last night. They had a nice little pop here. Or just, again, you can't tell now. Everything is just kind of going northeast here. Extra large, XL. This one not looking good. Pre-market is not great. We'll skip that. RKT. RKT, Rocket Mortgage here. They're not the best intraday trading stock. They get some moments here where they trade very well. But look at their daily. It's just not clean at all. They had a couple of pops here. Maybe, I don't know what's going on here. Short squeeze maybe has to be for that thing. So I don't know. I'm on the fence on that one. I think you can find something better to trade today. And I am going to now stop here. In GameStop, of course, we can add this one. Actually, GameStop, no, that doesn't look good. AMC.
So two things on GameStop. They've got earnings tonight, I believe, but they've got their annual investor conference is today. I think it's at 10 a.m. So
okay, so that's worth
some volatility in there.
Yeah, that's worth taking a look. They're not doing a whole lot now, but with that info, we definitely want to add this one on here. Where's AMC? AMC is not gapping up today. Oh, they're gapping down. Okay, so AMC is on the way down here. They're down 4.5 at the moment. 4.8 million shares traded. But this thing this was hot right now, so we'll put it on here. We do have shares for sure. They're daily slamming against this area of support right here around 50. That could be very, very interesting if we start losing ground here and people start bailing, right? I mean, this thing, guys, sitting at $2 just end of last year, maybe $5, and now at 52. We'll see how that's going to play out. All right, let's see what's gapping down today. We have ONDS this morning. This is looking horrible. No volume. Again, it's just the bar is just too high right now for some of these stocks. Down 16.8. We'll skip on that one. And also a low flow stock at 18 million. You got to do better than that. Let's look at PAF this morning. Not looking great, guys. Again,
yeah, it was on the secondary anyway on that ONDS.
Yeah. ONDS, horrible on top of that. PAF is not looking any better, guys. Recent IPO looks like, and their daily is just really all over the place. No shares for sure. Let's move on. CVM. CVM this morning, also pre-market action is looking rather weak. Their daily is a little lighter on the volume. They're barely getting any volume, so I don't have no good hopes for this one. Move down to CPB. I love the gap down of 7.6, but their daily is just like you would say, Norm, atrocious. This is just not good at all. Pre-market doesn't look great, so let's move down here. LEDs is on our gappers list every day, up or down. How did they do yesterday? How are they actually trading? So if we look at LEDs yesterday, they had a nice drop here. Outside of that, I'm not seeing anything great. Their volume drops off pretty fast though. Look at that. They're moving with no volume. So that's not good, guys. You got 300,000 shares and you're making a move from 26 down to 23. That's not good. I mean, you just don't want to be involved with something like that. So the volume is suspect on this one. We'll move on down to Kodak. Kodak is on here. Even Kodak is making an appearance today. They are down a 6.8, 719,000 shares traded. If you guys remember, this stock is one of those that it just rides a trend. Are they opening anything with Bitcoin? What are these guys doing? What's making them?
I don't know. Maybe they're launching people to Mars now.
Yeah. They just tag on to whatever's hot.
Fresh on it, brother.
Whatever is hot, they just tag on to. So at this morning, I'm not seeing anything good here. So let's just skip on it. Had a big day yesterday, not bad. LEDs, we looked at eyes, low flow stock at 18 million, no volume. MOSI, also low flow stock, no volume there. AMC, we do have Ride. Let's just go through this one quickly. Ride is down 3% with some volume. Wow, what happened to Ride last night? Look at this. Huge drop last night on Ride. So that is interesting.
Yeah, if I remember correctly on Ride, they had some sort of a filing that they were supposed to do and didn't. So I think they're in a little trouble. They're concerned that they're going to be around, much less there's a couple of other issues there. So
yeah, I just noticed, as I'm putting it as a possible, guys, down here, I just noticed we do not have any shares for short, and it is on short selling restrictions. So it's going to be a tough one to trade today, especially with so much negative news on it. So we'll keep it on here for now, but most likely I'm going to drop that off for something else. Okay, guys, Norm, what do you guys have on your end that you like this morning?
All right, I got a few.
Yeah,
we already talked about GME. And the reasons behind that. FSLY, of course, they had that issue yesterday morning that took down a huge swath of the internet. And then they promptly had a massive trending day, from being down several percent to being up over 10% at one point, at least.
Yeah.
So continuation there, possible. Doesn't always trade great, so just be careful on that. It's a little thin sometimes. It's got a 30-cent spread at the moment, so just keep an eye on that. AEMD, low flow to the day.
AEMD?
AEMD. Low flow to the day. Yeah, they have cured somebody of COVID.
That is great stuff, man. Up 280%.
So that's a goodie. And then I got one more, and MQ. And you won't be able to pull anything up on this yet because it's an IPO, so it'll open later today. But that is my guess is that'll be a pretty decent IPO as far as IPOs go.
Yeah. Well, what is the company again?
MQ.
No, well, I'm saying what is the actual company? Is the actual company MQ?
Yeah. No, it is Marqeta. It is a fintech company. Essentially, they handle credit card services and stuff for a bunch of DoorDash, Uber, Square. They're tied into a bunch of big companies.
All right, got you. Looking forward to that one today, guys. All right, we got a nice list already, folks. Let's take a look at what our chat room has. Anything that's not on here, and preferably anything that has a catalyst, right? So if you have a catalyst behind it, that can definitely help out. FSR upgrade with Givo. Let's see. We have FSR on here. We did look at FSR earlier. Let's take a look on how that is. Yeah, FSR, it's got some movement here, 304. Again, not great, and it could be difficult to trade, but if they have some news, maybe that could be something we can take a look at. We'll put FSR on here. Heading down, what else we have? AEMD, we do have that one on there. Next, we looked at Next yesterday, and it wasn't great. And today, let's see if they're any better. They're not looking any better pre-market. Let's see how it actually trades. I took this one off my list. So they did have a nice quick pop here. And then probably halt to here or something, and then look at the action after that. So just be careful, guys. This thing has been going on a run for the last 2 days. The third day gapping down here could be a little bit choppy. I don't like, even with this move here, I don't like the overall movement of this stock. So I'm going to keep it off my list. I just don't think it's a good one for the way I trade. So I'm going to, and if you are going to watch that one, just again, be very, very careful. RKT this morning, Rocket Mortgage, we looked at earlier. Again, you know what? They don't look so bad, guys. It's just, if we didn't have so much stuff on here, like CLOV, which looks amazing. CLNE on the way down here also looks great after popping up all the way to 16, now at 12. That's pretty good. Wish is on fire as well. 27 million, up 25%. Coming down a little bit here. We do have shares for short. Look at Workhorse. Workhorse on the daily looks like it wants to just continue breaking above some of these levels we have here. So this is looking good. 1.8 million shares traded. AMC is just kind of going sideways here. You know, it's going to be a tough day, guys, to find something that normally we will have here. And today we're not adding on because these giants are taking the whole picture here. TLRY this morning up 3%, 558,000 shares traded. This daily does look good though. I like this daily for a possible breakout. I have a lot on here, guys, but I know I'm going to remove a lot very quickly. TLRY might survive here. Let's look at CLVS. Did we look at that one? CLVS. I thought we might have looked at this one. This one looks interesting as well. It is up 31%, 4 million shares traded. What's the float on this? CLVS. What do we have here? This is, it's a large float, 101. All right, let me see here. What are we going to do here? And then I need a second column, CLVS. What do we have here? Neo. Oh, I skipped one. Tel. Let's look at Tel. No, Tel no good, guys. Today, we won't have space for something like this unless you have a huge catalyst and are expecting something. Neo, Neo is interesting, but I just don't have space for today. Volume's a little bit lighter than it was yesterday, though. So I'm going to keep that to the side. MU, is MU doing anything today? MU, big drop yesterday from 85 down to 80. So nice big drop yesterday on MU with some decent volume. Possible continuation today. But again, guys, it's just our real estate here is very limited right now on our watch list. Wish, we looked at Wish. That's on deck. Yeah, that's on deck already. That's looking very, very good there. Watch list for you there. AEMD we do have. Very good. BNGO, let's take a look. BNGO this morning. Very active, 980.89. It looks good. How did it do yesterday? Yesterday looks like gapped up, sold off. Oh, yesterday was nice, guys. Look at this sell-off. This was one of the cleanest sell-off we had yesterday. And Wendy's was another one too, into the from the pre-market into the market open. This one was really nice here. So good stuff there. Today, pre-market action looks decent. Yeah, I think I like BNGO today. And we'll remove something else, BNGO. BB, do we have BB? Yeah, BB is in play. So BB is definitely in play, guys. Let's put BB up here as well. And I think I'm gonna have to stop here because I just have way too many. We'll stop here, guys. Let's take a look quickly on YouTube. Anything that we might have missed that looks really good, guys. Hopefully anything with a catalyst. BB we do have on deck. I just added that on. GameStop, we do have that when they have their event coming up today, so that should be interesting. FSR, we did add FSR as a possible also. All right, so we're looking at the same things here. So that's good. I saw a lot of you guys throw out TIGR, so I'm going to take a look at it. TIGR on both chats here. TIGR right now, it's got great volume. It is up 1.2% now. But I'm not sure, guys. Again, it could be good if you have the space for it. It's going to come down to if you have the space. If you have the real estate space in your watch list to put this one on, by all means do it. But when you stack it up against some of these other ones that are on here, this one's might not make the cut, right? It looks decent, but it just might not make the cut. Wendy's, did we look at Wendy's today? We did not. And you know why? Because it's not coming up on our gapping list here because they're pretty much flat. And I think it wouldn't come up because the ATR for the last 14 days might not be that much. That's what didn't come up yesterday. But it could be a good possible for a continuation. Their pre-market action is not as great as it was yesterday, nowhere near. But it could be interesting what they do today. So I'm going to put them as that's a great possible to see if we're going to continue on this madness here or come back down to some of these levels we had in the past. So, all right, excellent. We have a whole lot to go through. I don't think we have room for anything else right now. I'm just going to look at one more because I like this one. It's going to be Plug. I do like the way Plug moves sometimes. I love their daily here. I wish they had more volume and we're gapping up a little more, but because of that, I'm not going to add it. But Plug does trade very well at times. But right now, the pre-market action doesn't really earn them a spot here on our secondary list or even on our main list. Norm, we're going to go to announcements a little bit early because I think
all right. You're going to have more. You've got your work cut out for you this morning.
Absolutely. We're going to make it up on the back end.
And I want to, that's okay, because I want to hit two things real quick. The last couple of days, it's been mentioned on YouTube that closed captions are not working. Don't know what the problem is. It's nothing that we've done. There's some glitch in the YouTube system. We'll see if we can figure out a way to fix that. Then somebody made an interesting comment in the chat earlier, and it was just, they were asking, do you think that the rise of the meme stocks has taken away tradable volume from other things? I really don't see that. I actually see it as more of an opportunity, giving us more options to trade. You have to remember, this is June. We're in almost, mid-June almost. The market's usually dead now. If you go back 2 years to 2019, now last year was a different story because of COVID and everything going on around that completely changed the markets and how they worked and everything else. But if you go back to this date 2 years ago and you pull up the pre-market show, I wouldn't be shocked to see one, maybe two names on the gappers list. We had to scrounge to look for stuff. So there's more market participants. There's more stuff moving. This is more of an opportunity than it is hindering anything. So just my 2 cents on that. All right, here we go. Jared's Engineering the Markets was last night. Awesome success webinar. It may already be posted. If it's not, if you didn't make it, it will be up soon. Next week, 8 p.m. Tuesday, we've got Peter talking about his Mountain Pass strategy. So that'll be at 8 p.m. next week. Then tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, we've got Mike talking about handling the emotions of trading, one of our world famous authors on staff. And then next week, we'll have our mindfulness expert, Nada, talking about having a wise and healthy relationship with money. I don't know. Is she going to say just get naked and roll around in it or what? We'll see. It should be interesting. All right. Member trade of the day, trade of the week. If you want to participate in that, take a screenshot of your best trade of the day with entries and exits, of course, and then post any commentary, add any commentary you can to describe the trade. Post it on Twitter, tagging @BearbullTraders, @MikeB_BBT, and @NormBBT. Also use hashtags BBT Family, Day Trading Stock Market. Pick a winner for each day that'll be announced on Twitter and in the closing show in the room. And then all the trades of the day are eligible for trade of the week, which we will vote on over the weekend. The team does, and that'll be announced on Monday. Still don't have the new slides from yesterday, but that's okay. If you're watching on YouTube and haven't been in the chat, use the promo code PREMARKET24. That'll get you access to the trial membership, which is 7 calendar days, 5 trading days in the room. Also gives you access to the live onboarding classes and tech classes every Monday evening. And then also, if you are interested, there you go. Carlos, pull that up when you get a chance. That picture that was just posted when we get done with this. If you see what I'm talking about there. Doesn't auto renew, turn into any other kind of membership. I already said all that. And you can use the promo code Fireworks40 to take advantage of our 4th of July sale, which is 40% off the Elite Annual Membership. Now, cue it up. Just like I said, 2 years ago today, this was our gappers list. Bueller. There it is. Look at that stunner. And you can throw AU out because that is a gold miner and trades like garbage. And I'm sure if you look at the recording, it's probably I said that verbatim.
Yep, absolutely. That was it, guys. I mean, it was a whole different ball game. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. That was normal.
Yep.
We did that. I mean, we've been doing this show for well over 2 years now. Mm-hmm. And that was normal for months on end during the summer. So it's a different deal.
It's a different environment, and again, I don't think, like Norm, like you said, it's not a bad one. It's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for us retail traders. So more volume here for us to mess around with. So, all right, guys, let's get to it. Let's take a look here at our list. Again, I think we could have easily kept yesterday's watch list, but we're going to go through this one. We have Wish on deck. Let's make sure things are lining up here. Turn this off there. Perfect. All right, we have Wish on deck, so that is looking really good this morning, guys. Very active, 30% up this morning. Great day yesterday. We'll keep this one on here. CLNV also looking good, guys. Great volume on that one. CLOV, that is looking good. We got to be very, very picky today. Workhorse, I like Workhorse. I really like the daily on it as well, so I'm going to keep that one. AMC is not as great as the last couple of days that we've seen this one, but it can move very well. We do have shares for short on it also. FSLY, I think I'm just gonna I'm just gonna keep this one maybe as a possible, and BB also looks good. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 already just on our main list. Let's be very picky with this list here. I like Wendy's for possible continuation. That's gonna stay. BNGO's got great volume. We'll leave that one. CLVS. Okay, that one's all right too. TRY. I love the daily on this. But the volume is okay, so I'm going to remove this one. But the daily does look great on TRY. We just can't watch everything. FSR, guys, this is on the move, and it's been on a nice little run over the last couple of days. If we have more space, I will keep this on, but again, we just can't. We got to get rid of it. Ride does have a nice little drop that came yesterday. They have bad news. We do have shares for short on it. I do not like the fact that we have short selling restrictions, so just for that reason, we got to be very picky. Let's get rid of it. Go EV. This morning they had a big day yesterday. Right now pre-market action is looking okay. That's worth as a possible. Root, I know they're moving nicely here, but we'll have to remove it now. We just got to be very picky. AHT, good pre-market action, nice pop here. This could be a good continuation as well. 4.6 million shares traded. Let's take a look how it traded yesterday. Yesterday, for the most part, was okay. Was a little dull at the market open. Then it got going here. Look at the volume right after, what is this, 1 o'clock or so. Really got going there nicely. Could be a good possible. WPG, pre-market action is just starting to get going. Got going at 8 a.m. this morning. It is a REIT though. It is a REIT, so I'll be surprised if they can continue on this great momentum that we're seeing. I don't think it's going to last too long, so I'm going to get rid of it. It's probably one of the, like Norm said, one of the best REITs we've seen trading in the last couple of days. But let's get rid of it. OEG, I don't like this pop and just kind of going sideways here. That is not great. This would be a great possible on any given day, like on that day that we only had 3 tickers. But today we don't need this one. Lots. This morning is decent, 1.9. We could keep that one. And GameStop, we're going to keep it on here. Normally, GameStop today is not a stock we will watch, but they got an event at 10 o'clock. So I want to see how that's going to play out as things move forward here after the market open. Low flow of the day, guys, up 300%. Was up probably about 500, maybe 6 up here, over at 18. Right now, 21 million shares traded. They cure someone from COVID, so that is really popping them up this morning. Pretty nice. So a lot going on there. MQ is an IPO that's going to be coming on later on. All right, 9 a.m. and we just did a filtering. Let's go through it again and see what else we can take off for this, right? So we're going to need all the time we can get here. So here's Wish. Wish is nice. That's good. CLNE, I think it's a decent one. This is probably more of a possible, guys. It is on short selling restriction as well. Let's be picky. Let's put this down as a possible. I do like the volume. I do like the pop, but let's bring this down here. CLOV is very good this morning, guys. Great pre-market action. I'm shocked they're up another 24% after such a huge day yesterday. That's going to be a good one today. Workhorse, I love the daily. This one's going to stay here. Workhorse, no shares for short on Workhorse. Come on now. It still does look very good, but I would love to have things that we can trade both ways here, just in case. If we get a rejection, right? So we're not the only ones looking for a breakout here, guys. A lot of people are going to be looking for a breakout because it's just a technical level is like Andrew would say, grabbing you by the face, right? That technical level there is very clear. That's an area of resistance. If we can get going here, we can not easily, but likely hit some of these 20, 19, 21 levels, right? We got a squeeze going there after such a big drop we had going back in February. But if that rejects, if we're not able to do that, then we can have a drop like we did just a few days ago, just like we did yesterday. Look at these drops, right? We're not getting through this level, so things are rejecting. Already, we try to get above 18, and it's not happening. So if we get a rejection here, it'll be nice to be able to short it, but it does not look like we're going to have that opportunity. So I'm going to bring this down to a possible just for that. Again, I know I'm nitpicking, but we have to on a day like today. AMC, it's okay. It's not really great, but we'll keep it on here. FSLY is good, and the BB has been trading very clean the last couple of days. We'll keep this one on here as well. All right, let's fine tune our secondary list one more time. Workhorse is a good, very good possible for the long side. CLNV is another one as well. Now some shares are starting to come in for sure. Might not be too many, but there's some there. Wendy's is good. I want to see what Wendy does. Might just chop around here in the pre-market. Once the volume comes in, I want to see what this thing is going to do. We're going to visit this 32 again, or we're just going to chop around here for the most part. BNGO is a good one. CLVS is decent. That is good too. I think CLVS might actually be our last one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, CLVS, guys. I think this one's looking really good. 4 million, up 30%. Pre-market action is looking good. We do have shares for sure. Yeah, this is very, very nice. We're above this area of resistance here just in the last couple of minutes, and we got some room to run to some levels here that we had done in the past. So I really like that one. Wendy's, BNGO, Go EV is okay. Go EV is okay. I'm going to remove it just to make room. AHT, I'm going to remove AHT. Lots, you know, I have a feeling this could be very choppy. Look at the volume we got yesterday. After that, it doesn't do a whole lot. Today we already have 2 million, so maybe a possible continuation. We're slamming up against this area of resistance. That could be interesting. We'll come back to it. You know what? Towards the end, we can look at it again. But I think right now we have a very decent main list here so far this morning. Let's get to some levels, guys. All right, let's start with Wish here. High of the pre-market today hitting 1763. So we'll throw a level there. The low of the pre-market over at 1448. So respecting some of the levels here on the daily already as far as the pre-market goes. You can see that here being created. In between those two levels, there is a level right on here at a 1630. You can see an area of resistance and support happening here. You got resistance there and a little bit of support happening there as well. So you definitely want to mark that down. Now towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You have your previous day close right on here as well. In between, you have another day with a couple of touches in here, another level, 1304. Several days using that as support and resistance as you move on the way down here. So you want to put that on there also. Above the 1763, very clean level, very clear is this one here, hitting this moving average and then slamming back down. You throw a level there around 1996. You can see that area of support on the way down here. We did have a little bit of support, couldn't hold on to that, and slamming down to the next levels. But that definitely a level you want to have, 1996 there. And then above that, you have another level here, 2145 as well. So that's pretty good for Wish. That is all set there. Let's take a look over at CLOV. Again, this one looking very good this morning. Amazing volume. 2832 is the high of the pre-market. The low of the pre-market sitting at 23 exactly. Yes, 23 exactly, really. Although it looks like 2310. I think it's 2310. I think this here. Oh, no, it's right. 23 is right. 2301 right on there. Slightly above the previous day close, sitting at 2215. Towards the bottom, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. The last 2 days, guys, amazing moves towards the upside. This thing is really really on fire the last couple of days. Let's get back to the left here. Do we have anything above this 28? Are we sitting at all-time highs here? Looks like we are, guys. I cannot go back further than this July over there. So all-time highs here, no other levels towards the top. You're pretty much set here. What we could do here too, guys, this thing is moving, right? We're low of the pre-market 23, high 28. We can go into our pre-market action here and find some levels where we're getting a lot of touches because this thing is going to move. So your levels could be a little bit closer in our charts. 2675 is a good level right on there. You can see great area of support. It's tested a few times in the pre-market this morning, and all the way down here 2575, another great area of great support. You're seeing that here as well. Tons of touches here before it took off and went above this 2675. So you could add those on there and have levels ready to go here. AMC, guys, right now just chopping around, not looking pretty in the pre-market. Low of the pre-market 50 to be exact. 50 is the low of the pre-market. And then around the price action right now, you do have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days as we continue to just kind of move sideways here. This 50 is going to be very, very important. Can we hold on to this? I have a feeling if we do not, we're going to see a nice little drop here towards maybe 45, or I don't think we'll go this far down, but maybe towards 45. Let's see. We need to definitely hold that level. And then towards the top, guys, you got some highs and lows of the last 2 trading days. Outside of the price action and some of the ranges you're seeing there in that consolidation at the moment, 46, 35, 31 is a good one. And all the way up here, 68, 53 towards the top is another good one as well. Here is FSLY, the high of the pre-market, 59. So 59.01, we'll throw a level there. And then towards the bottom, guys, you do have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. Looking at our daily here, we can go to the left and we have 60.93 towards the top. We do have another level here, right around here, around 63.94. That's a good one. And then all the way up here as well at 68.11. So plenty of levels there. Great support happening here. Not the best daily. And Nora mentioned this earlier too. This one tends to not move great. You know, it can be a hit or miss. In fact, this reminds me like a POTR. You know, when we don't watch it, it does this nonsense here. It trades amazing, and when we watch it, it might trade like this over here. So just be careful with that. This one, actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it even more and remembering how this trade, because it was one time this thing was really hot and we always had it on our list because the volume was there. Even then, it was a very difficult stock to trade. So I might move this down as a possible today. So let's see here. Let's continue. Here's BB. Very similar situation to what's happening with AMC, guys. Just kind of moving sideways a little bit here. This one, though, although it's moving sideways on the overall daily, this one is down 2.7. So a little more action on this one. A cleaner pre-market action. If you can see here, this beautiful drop towards 1491. That is your low of your pre-market. Getting a nice little bounce here, just kind of moving sideways now, but it had a great move early on this morning already on here, so creating a beautiful range. Outside of that window, we do have the highs and lows towards the top, guys, 17, 16, and we have the lows down here over at 14 as well. So I don't think you really need to add anything more here, guys. I think you're pretty set as far as levels goes on BB. CLVS, we looked at this one, was sitting on our possibles list. We moved it up. I think it looks very good this morning. High of the pre-market 776, and that's been a really good move. In the pre-market already, we got some really good levels that we should mark down. Like this one that we're struggling with right now. There's a little battle going on here at 713, so let's mark that level. You can see that area being a level of resistance as well. So we'll throw a level on there. And then over here, I do like this level for the breakout that we had. It's around 688 or so. Great area of resistance coming across the board. And then you had the nice breakout getting above that 713. So let's see how that's going to play out if the stock does decide to come back towards the downside there. Looking at the bigger picture on the daily, we do have a level here, great area of resistance, 640, 41 or so. Nice area of resistance there. You can see the change in direction, which is really nice. When you have a change in direction like that, that level becomes even more important. You can add a lot more weight to it. And also when there's several touches on here like you've seen here. And then if you go even further to the left, you see more support happening right around that level. A little bit lower, right? These guys kind of dip below here, but for the most part, right around that level, 641, you do have a great level of support there and resistance. All right, heading towards the top, guys, if we were breaking out of this high of the pre-market, look at the high of the pre-market. No coincidence, this thing is struggling here at 775, right? You got a couple of levels hitting that. Great support happening here going back to February that is now acting as resistance. Towards the top, very clean level, obviously, is going to be 896. We do have a smaller pop here over at 816. Let's mark that down. A couple in here. This is okay. 858, that's all right. We can mark that there too. We have some touches on there as well. So again, I think we have plenty here, all the way up to 896. Very, very clean levels on the daily. So that is what we have, guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is very, very good right now. All right. Let's take a look at what our moderators are watching this morning. Let me disable the video here so you guys don't get this mirror effect. All right, we'll do that, and then we'll bring this over. Looking forward to see what our list looks like today on the day that we have so much to watch. Very similar to yesterday, which is interesting. Usually after a day like yesterday, today you would think it'll be a little more dull, a little more choppy, and there's some stocks that are just taking off on fire, guys. So looking really good. All right, let's head on down here. Who do we have? Let's start with Eamon. Eamon is looking at ACB, Oxy, X, secondary list, Disca, Futu, and also Tau this morning. Dima is looking at FSLY, OEG, Rocket Mortgage, and Apple on her list. Peter is looking at IPO for today's MQ. We talked about this one, so we're looking forward to see how that's going to open up today. Some of the SPACs this morning, SM, I'm not going to read these out. They're here for you guys. You can just go ahead and copy those if you are interested, but I'm not doing that. Here's John. John is looking at AEMD and GameStop for the high of day breakout. AEMD is the low flow of the day, guys. This thing is up 300% now. Ho. Wow. That is a beautiful thing. 300%. I mean, it was up probably 600, but it's just nice to see that number. How many times do you get to see something that's up, above 300%? It's not often, right? So let's enjoy this here. All right, Tiffany's, she's looking at, I skipped Mike first. No, I skipped a few people actually. Thor, he's watching Wish. He's watching Wendy's again, which he should watch Wendy for the rest of the week with the trade he had yesterday. He's watching Apple on top of that, and also secondary list, Apple twice. So he loves Apple this morning, and scanners. Mike is looking at GameStop and Facebook. Tiffany is looking at Wish, Wendy's, CLOV on the secondary list, alongside with FSLY. Jared is looking at AMC, BB, CLOV, and some of the Bitcoin plays. So he's looking at some of the BTC stocks, EAMD, and also SPI this morning for him. Peter, his main list, AMD, CLOVB, or that B is an extra there. He's looking at Wish, and he's also looking at secondary list, EMD, and also BB and Wendy's, which was on fire yesterday. Brian, his list, I believe he means AEMD, not AMED, AEMD, CLVS, Wendy's, and Wish. And Peter's list again, he's correcting there. Yeah, CLOV for Peter there. All right, excellent. Guys, we have an amazing list. 9:13, so right on time. Let's move this out of the way here. And let's take a quick look, recap of what we have this morning. So starting with Wish, guys, looking really good right now. Again, up nicely, great volume. CLV looks amazing as well. This one trading very, very clean. No shares for short. I thought we just had shares for short, but maybe that could be running out of there. So we'll see. Sometimes, guys, and I've seen Andrew do this, and if you're trading with IB, this takes, look, did it come back or no? This takes a while to populate. It could take 5 minutes. So sometimes even when you don't see an S, if you hit short, if you're trying to short something, you might get filled. I've seen Andrew do that a couple of times live with us. So sometimes it takes about 5 minutes or so for Dash Trader Pro to update the inventory from the broker, right? And that's not an issue, but sometimes you hit it and you might get filled. So that's CLOV. AMC is looking okay. We have FSLY as well, looking pretty. FSLY it's okay. It's probably the weakest one out of all these that are on here on the main list. BB is decent, and CLVS also looking pretty good this morning. All right, guys, we got a blockbuster list today. Again, like we had yesterday. As usual, you know the rules. And on situations like this, you do not want to have that fear of missing out. There's people, if you look at the moderators watch list, everybody's watching something different. We're all going to be calling out certain things in the chat room, but just, again, don't have that. Don't chase. Don't have that fear of chasing and that FOMO when it comes to a day like this where everybody's watch list is different. It's easy when we all have the same watches, right? We all have the same 5 tickers because that is all that's hot. You know, you're not going to get that fear of missing out, but it's very important. As you're part of a community, of a chat room, you know, it's a tool. The chat room is a trading tool, so you have to treat it with a lot of responsibilities, right? There's people that are going to be making money, going to be calling it out. You do not want to have that fear of missing out. You want to understand that this is a tool and you have to use it properly, right? So don't let the chat room create FOMO. Very, very important. All right, guys, thank you so much on YouTube for joining us. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, guys. It really helps us out. It takes you 2 seconds, but it helps us out a whole lot here in the back end for Norm and I and Jared doing this show. So thank you for that. Trade safe today. Again, no FOMO as you're building your list, and you have 15, 20 tickers today. And we will see you guys tonight for the psychology webinar. I believe tonight is Mike. Is that correct? Yeah, Mike. So looking forward to that. And we'll see you guys tonight. So take care, guys. Trade safe.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.